campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy. Turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation. Connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive. And highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world. If we care enough. If we care enough. If we care enough. If we care enough. If we care enough.
Yeah, it's Drizzy, baby. You already know what it is. It's the first time I'm high. It's the first time I smoked in like 3 months. I'm sorry, Mama, I had to do it to him. 40, I see you. Oh, I see you, homie. I stayed late tonight, right? You know what happened when I stay late. Yeah, boy wonder. I swear it's like this every single time. Toronto, I got you. I got us. Yeah. I'm a hog, gotta get along with, get on the song with which be going right. Well, I just flip into the wrong. The team that I belong to, the artists I put on with, don't ever ask for nothing, cause them niggas got their own. Me and Weezy like a mouthful of hot peppers, black Ferrari with the red seats, I call it playing checkers. I'm never doing verses, I'm forever giving lectures. If you're trying to meet with money, I'll be happy to connect ya. Life is better than it's ever been, scheduling $1 million meetings with the president. Someone cut the lights on, where is Thomas Edison? Got a new condo, watch me as I settle in. I deserve an MTV show for me and my people. And if you're trying to zone, I got a whole swish of sweet food. Rappers all liars and they women are deceitful. Adding to they subtract me, I never be an equal. Last place, Drizzy is the in the lead now. Weezy told me just write every single thing you need down. Then he got it for me and I'm happy as can be now. About to start balling like I'm coming off a rebound. Yeah, and I should have the most bragging rights because the big bag it tight. Hate when rappers say they trying to get this right. Cause I done came with more fire than a dragon. Fuck you. Hater, you should do you. You ain't heard of me, then you should go and get a blues clue. Oops, I mean a red clue. Wayne's here, Sue. Betty felt that like the end of a pool cue. But I ain't banging, I ain't waving no flag. I'm ATF, but they ain't seeing no badge. It's heartbreak Drake, I hate to see him so sad. I could son you, see a little me and your dad. I'm the same yellow boy that used to play up on the grass. They can pocket 20,000 to be anywhere they ask me. Cash like Johnny, banks like Ashley. Burning like a camel light, stupid hoe ash me. But don't ask me about me.
Drake going off Heartbreak Drake. That's one of my favorite eras. Welcome into hour 2 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Of course, this is the show where we're going to hit all the trending topics across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. And coming up in hour 2, we're going to be talking about both of those men right there, Drake and Lil Wayne, Young Money, Young Moolah, baby. Lil Wayne, you know, he says that you people, you guys are just hating on Drake because he's light-skinned, and he would know. We're going to get into his comments shortly. But before we do, your guy Tristan Thompson, I'm going to start, well, wait, before I even do that, I mentioned some of the nominees for American Fiction, Best Picture, Jeffrey Wright for Best Actor, Sterling K. Brown for Best Supporting Actor. I did leave out Cord Jefferson, who not only directed the film, but also adapted the screenplay, which was nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. So shout out to Cord. This is his first directorial effort. And, you know, we support everybody black. So shout out to him. Okay, so listen. Did you know Tristan Thompson was still in the league? I didn't. I thought he was at the house Really did. But apparently, he's been playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers this season. I thought Tristan was at the house with Chloe. But listen, those 5-6 minutes that he comes off the bench, they were worth a lot to them. So much so that he was doing a little extra on the side to keep himself in pristine condition. So Tristan has been suspended for 25 games for violating the NBA's anti-drug policy. So immediately when I heard that, I was like, hey, weed isn't a banned substance in the NBA anymore. So what are we really talking about here, Tristan? I'm going to tell you what. I was not expecting to hear that he tested positive for anabolic. We won't call them steroids because I don't know if that's the proper name for them. But basically, they increase lean body mass. It is SRMLGD433 and another one, MK677. Right? So they increase lean body mass, increases muscle mass, and reduces body fat, and improves strength and endurance, as well as reduces inflammation, right? So, that's their work. And I'm curious why at this point in his career, clearly the latter half of his career, is he taking those kind of chances when he could just collect his check and be on the end of the bench? I recognize that he has four children. But, dog, why are you playing games? So, we know we're almost halfway through the season. By the time Tristan is eligible to come back, season's almost going to be done. So we'll see what happens next year if he gets picked back up and, can make an impact, if he can come back from that. I'm unclear how teams feel. I mean, obviously they're against it. They don't want their players involved in that. But I'm unclear how they feel about a player getting caught using a banned substance like that. And if they're willing to, sign them on, or if they feel like it's a, distraction. When we come forward, we're going to get into the WWE. They continue to make moves. But this next move might mean that there will only be a limited amount of ways that you'll be able to tap into the WWE. Are you rolling? We'll get into that on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do Black history every single day. In fact, as the only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi, we are Black history. Our annual Black History Month luncheon is fast approaching, and we want to be sure to give you ample time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right. Y'all gotta try that Febreze car. Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency. On low Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the Amera I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the Amera I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The Amera I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriICanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriICanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So if you are keeping up with NBA news, and first of all, sadness and despair, the Lakers lost once again to the Clippers tonight. You know, it's an interesting season. But anyway, the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, Adrian Griffin, yes, he's a black man, was fired. Now, the Bucks are currently second in the East and seemingly doing quite well. They made a trade for Damian Lillard, but it looks like Giannis might have been tuning out head coach Adrian Griffin, who was just hired last June. Some are calling his firing unfair because they didn't give him a chance to really get in there and have a full season with this team, especially considering that they have a winning record. And I think their winning percentage or something is, better than even the number one team in the East, who I think is the Celtics. Celtics, Andy? Andy's not sure. He doesn't hear me. Who's the number one team in the East? Is it the Celtics or is it the Sixers? I can't remember. It's one of those two. But
Celtics.
Okay, so it is the Celtics. But, the Bucks were gaining some ground, but many felt like their championship window was closing fast. So they are looking to bring on Doc Rivers, right? And it's so interesting because
It's official.
It's official? Well, because I just saw a tweet that said that they are still in negotiations. And even though it was announced by CNN, they have not fully agreed to terms yet, but it will be. So, one way or another, Doc is about to be on board and heading in there. Allegedly, they had called Doc in to kind of help mentor Adrian during the in-season tournament, just, trying to help him gather the ship. The thing that's interesting to me is, Doc Rivers has moved on from a lot of situations, and that Celtics championship is getting further and further in the rearview window. We see, he came here to the Clippers. It was working till it didn't. We see what happened in Philly. I feel like there's another stop in between there for Doc that I might be the Nets, right? No. Was Doc with the Nets? No. It's just Philly. I feel like there's someplace else I'm leaving out after between the Clippers and Philly, but maybe not. Maybe it was just the conversation. But it is interesting to see because really, if he loses, right, it's just another black mark on his record, so to speak. And if he wins, does he really get the credit because he's coming in halfway through when a lot of in theory, infrastructure has been built. Andy, what are your thoughts?
He'll get the credit just like Steve Kerr got the credit when he took over for the
Mark
Warriors.
Jackson, yeah.
Just Phil Jackson, he got the credit. You could say that was Del Harris's squad on the Lakers. You know what I mean? So,
but I saw some differences when Phil came in. I mean, and I'm not saying that Doc wouldn't do that, but it's just an interesting thing that we're going to see play out. But at least, it's a black man is coming back in, so we ain't lose any numbers that way.
Yeah, they did Adrian Griffin dirty. I mean, considering that you was top 3 team in the East or whatnot, I guess Giannis wasn't really feeling him. And, I hope all this means that Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy comes back to ESPN and does commentary.
Oh, yeah, because there's a space open.
Mm-hmm.
We know Mark Jackson has a podcast coming through Cam, which, Mark Jackson came up in the heyday of New York basketball. People forget that he was the real deal as a point guard for the Knicks and for the Pacers. So, interesting developments happening over that way. Okay, so Lil Wayne, he's a sports fan and he checks in on Undisputed. Well, he recently was a guest on Richard Sherman's podcast. And so the subject of Drake came up. And we know we've been talking about Drake quite a bit lately, if he needs to maybe take a break and recalibrate and come back out. I saw a theory that the reason why Drake's music is changing and getting so dark is because, as life is advancing and he's had his child and he sees the women that, he once was so hopeful and open about. Like Drake made love songs. Like I was just talking about Heartbreak Drake. That was one of my favorite Drake eras. He talked about being in love and it was a sweet, almost innocent quality to it. And now he's had his heart broken a couple times. He's been through the ringer. He's been through some things. And now we're getting cold, broken-hearted Drake. The menace, the one that is mean because he's disillusioned with life. Okay, maybe. We all go through phases. But Lil Wayne says the reason why Drake gets so much hate is simple. It's because he's light-skinned. So he also said that he knows a little bit about this topic. So let's hear what he had to say.
Wayne, you might be the Green Bay of the rap game in terms of what you did with Young Money. You got Drake, you got Nicki. You picking them too now.
I mean, I get that from being around Birdman and Slim. I always looked at how the hell y'all saw what y'all saw in us. We was kids.
Why they be hating on Drake like this? That's what I don't understand.
He red. He light skinned.
That's true.
He likes it. We've been doing that. That's history. That's just American history, man. That's American history. How I know is because I'm not light skinned. I hated on all light skinned dudes in school. So yeah, that is American history, man. Shout out to y'all, man.
So Lil Wayne said, he's dark skinned and he hated on the light skinned guys. And I know, there used to be a thing calling light skinned guys soft and all of that. Is it still a thing? Does it still matter? Does it still, do people still look at light-skinned guys and give the same type of commentary? Because we know that there's a lot of battles still for black women as far as colorism and dark-skinned and light-skinned women, and both sides at various points feel disrespected and, things of that nature. But is it as bad for the men? And is it more light? Because I always took it as lighthearted joking, but I didn't know if men really took it to heart and if they were really bothered and upset by those jokes. I mean, obviously you don't want anybody calling you soft and testing your manhood or things of that nature, but I don't know if people really, really still are up in arms over that topic. Andy?
I think it's all fun and games at this point, but I think it still does play a little bit of a factor. You know what I mean? I always just kind of look at sports, right? And I look at somebody like a Steph Curry, very much so beloved. Mm-hmm. He could do no wrong, right? And then in contrast, you have a LeBron James, highly criticized. I mean, yeah, people look at him as the GOAT, but, the criticism behind LeBron is just crazy through the roof. And when you look at just a media perspective, you know what I mean, I think people would probably be more warm to see a Steph Curry on the cover of something as opposed to a LeBron James. So let's take it to the rap game. I mean, Drake, he doesn't seem aggressive. You know what I'm saying? He seems like welcoming. And I think,
and when he does get aggressive, people laugh at him.
100%, because he's light skinned.
But
it's unfortunate, but
it hasn't hurt him.
No, not at all.
Not
at all.
Do you think that some of the antics that he pulls are, because I think of somebody like Chris Brown too. People don't call Chris Brown soft. He's light skinned. They call him other things.
I beg to differ, but
they call Chris Brown soft.
I can probably hear some people saying that.
Okay. Fist Brown?
You said what?
People call him Fist Brown, so I'm saying they call him Fist Brown.
Some people call him Brish Brown. I mean,
yeah.
Just saying.
I think that it does, but it's so interesting how it works where it doesn't. Light-skinned men don't get the same. Even though they get the conversation, they don't get the same, well, he's only doing this. He's only getting this because of it. Like, even if we think that there's some sort of a preference, they aren't attacked for it in the same way I feel that women are. No one can help it, but I think, women, it's much more. It's weird. It's a weird space, and how you address it and how you talk about it and whether it's a hindrance or a help to them. I don't know if it really, it's a topic for men, but I don't know if it really moves in the same way for them that it does for women.
It really doesn't. I mean, the only times it moves is if, once again, I got to equate it to sports, right? We're at the park. Off the rip, you might not say it, but oh man, this dude is light skinned. He's soft, right?
I could take him.
So if he tries to foul me hard, trust me, he probably gonna step up to him more so than look at Draymond and Jordan Poole.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, who's gonna step up to Draymond? But Jordan Poole seems a little bit more approachable in that sense. So, but at the end of the day, we're cool. I don't think colorism really plays too much like that amongst men. But when it comes down to fisticuffs, then that's when it kind of pops up.
When it pops up. That makes sense because, that's really, otherwise, jokingly, I guess, for women, but women, usually seem to like, not that they don't like light-skinned men, but, when you hear the archetype, it's still the throwback, tall, dark, and handsome, so.
Yeah, but, there's women out there that love a Chris Brown.
There are
they
definitely
love
that.
Bow Wow.
They do. Well, Bow Wow? Is Bow Wow still on women's list?
Well, at the time, you know what I'm saying? When they were
at
kids.
the time, when he was a teenager. Now, there's questions. There was a whole Bow Wow challenge.
I do believe that opposites attract, though. One, I've always, in my time growing up, there was always the dark-skinned women who would love the light-skinned.
Mm-hmm.
And the light-skinned women would love the dark-skinned dudes.
Facts.
And vice versa.
Yeah, no, facts. Opposites attract, like you said. I just think now everything is so, we dissect so much. And then there's this whole thing of biracials and where do they fit into the subject matter. And because of social media, we involve more of the diaspora. So I think sometimes the UK or the Caribbean or the African view on skin color and blackness has jumped into the American conversation. And I think it's a little more nuanced than sometimes is given credit in social media.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. One of my good friends, he's mulatto, and I know sometimes there's a little bit of conflict that he has. But if you ask him, he'd be like, I'm straight African, you know what I'm saying? But colorism does still play a factor, I think, with regards to identity and all that.
Well, a shout out to Lil Wayne for trying to defend his friend. But what's crazy, didn't stop him ever. He didn't think about that when he said, what did he say? Dark-skinned girl, I bet that chick look better red. We know Wayne loved a long-haired, thick, red bone. That's how that started, right?
YG2.
Right. YG2, yeah, we often hear about it, but, moving around. So listen.
PGP.
Yeah. No, that's not that. That is something else, because PGP can come in all shades.
It can, but I think it does pop up in the whole light skin, dark skin, especially when you think about the music videos.
It does. Now that is true. That went from, all women, beautiful brown skinned women, to then it was like, oh, I only want kind of light skinned girls. And then it went to, oh, let me get my Latina, my exotics and whatever. And the next thing you know, there's not a lot of black women leads in the videos. But then I seen some ask the question, with the content of some of the videos and the way that some of the women are portrayed in them, is that where we want the best of our best? I know this is going to sound crazy, but I say, yeah, I want to see us in all colors and capacities across everything, because that is the reality of life. And, listen, we want to see us represented in whatever way is possible. But I do think there's a conversation to be had that just because we're there, y'all, doesn't mean that everything is black excellence. Sometimes you just got to enjoy stuff for what it is and not try and make it something that it's not. Sometimes something is just fun or enjoyable. It doesn't mean that it's highbrow art and it should be elevated or whatever. But that's a story for another day. Listen, there is somebody who has recently called out Lil Wayne and wants him to stop playing in regards to a Hot Boys reunion. We know BG recently was released from prison, and he's ready to get the band back, but he says Lil Wayne is the holdup. He said, in an interview, shouting out Juvie, says, "Say Juvie, there's people on my line, man, about this Hot Boys reunion." It was during an Instagram live, and he's like, "Weezy, stop playing. It's a big bag involved. You heard me? I know you're super rich. I know you like Taylor Swift out here, but come on, man, stop playing. Let's get to this bag." So are we trying to see a Hot Boys reunion? I am. I would like to see it. I heard BG freestyling over something, and he sounded really nice, current. So I would like to see them mix it up.
I would too.
I
just think Lil Wayne probably thinks he's bigger than the Hot Boys at this
Facts.
point and really doesn't need the bag, as opposed to BG, who probably truly needs the bag, and that's why he's pushing it. But I think Lil Wayne, man, go ahead and do business. I think the fans would love to see all four of y'all back together on stage performing.
And I think that's why you should do it, for the fans. I understand his hesitancy is too big, but give that fans a moment, even if it's just like one concert or something. Drop that, get the bag, and make the fans happy. Listen, on the other side, we have more trending topics and headlines, more to discuss as always. You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Bring that barrel to them eyeliners and what I make up with up your skin. I pick the buck up and buck, then buck again. I would buck your friend, then suck up her twin. I put the buck up to him, then buck and buck again. Suck nut you duck, yo unloving kin. Now don't rub it in like Uber Derm on a new tattoo. I had to kick my princess about my castle. Dad who never had that dude, always had a black too. Even when I was at school, cause bullies aren't bulletproof. Red scarf hoodie too, probably ain't as good as you. Stupid the only thing in the hood is you. I do everything good as you know. I do everything better. I get paid for every letter A, B, C, etc. Bet your bone like a dog. I am gone for your
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris held their first joint campaign rally of the 2024 election season. The two are making abortion rights a key issue of the 2024 re-election campaign. During a campaign event in Manassas, Virginia, Biden said Donald Trump and his conservative majority Supreme Court ripped away abortion rights from women when it struck down Roe v. Wade. The Yonkers NAACP in New York says there's no evidence that anti-Semitic remarks were made at a basketball game at Roosevelt High School earlier this month. The local NAACP branch alleges that there was a rush to judge and that allegations are untrue and unfair. The January 4th game ended early and the Roosevelt basketball coach was fired. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Can't wait weeks for your tax refund? Then don't. At Jackson Hewitt, get money today if you're approved for a no-fee refund advance loan on a prepaid card. Book today at jacksonhewitt.com. No-fee refund advance offered to eligible clients. Application required. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Environmental justice is racial justice.
Environmental justice is social justice.
This is KBLA Talk 1580.
Some people just know the best places to eat around town. Those are the people who know to choose Allstate. They know exactly where to go to get exactly what you're wanting. They know where to find the spiciest hot pot, the gooeyest brownies, and the tenderest, most flavorful portobello steak. Those people also know that safe drivers save 40% with Allstate.
Saving 40% is based on the national average premium savings for Allstate auto customers with a clean driving record versus those without. Savings vary by state and vary based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
your man, hey, hey, when I was your man, if I was your best friend, would you let me take care of you and do all the things that only a best friend can? Only best friends can. Let me dress you. I mean, help me pick out your clothes before we go out. Not that you're helpless, but sometimes those are the things that being in love's about.
Shout out to Andy. If I Was Your Girlfriend is one of my favorite Prince songs.
Run to me if somebody hurts you, even if that somebody was me.
That's a deep line. Would you run to me if somebody hurt you, even if that somebody was me? Like, wow. But at its heart, is that about communication? Is that just about, if I hurt you, would you come to me and talk to me about it? Would you tell me? Could we work through it like that? I hope so.
You know, me and my lady, we got into I wouldn't call it a spat, but just misunderstanding of things, and she made it a point to ask me or to tell me or to request of me that if I'm ever upset, right, to not shut down and to not yell out angrily. Instead, she would rather want me to be like, yo babe, I'm feeling a little irritated right now. I feel like I may say something that I might regret. Can we pause whatever you're trying to discuss right now and let's talk about this later, out of love? And she was like, that's what I need. I need that type of communication, even in the heat of the moment. Because if you go out and you just react, I'm going to receive that as something negative, as opposed to, I understand. Because I was telling her, I'm like, yo, I'm human. Can I not be upset?
Right.
Like, come on now. But even in that moment, you know what I'm saying, she wants me to still communicate my feelings and my emotions.
I love that. I mean, I think that is very important, to take that in the moment, to take that space to breathe and, to maybe process. I don't mind, give me a moment. You got it. Because I might need a moment too. You know what I'm saying? Let me recalibrate and regroup, and we can come back and talk about this in a much less heightened state. We can just communicate and talk and express things.
Easier said than done, though.
It is.
Especially when you're emotional, you know what I'm saying?
It is. But, I mean, I think that is why it's important to know that it's not shutting down, as, she expressed.
Right.
That it is just taking a moment to cool down, to, everybody gather their side, so that you don't say things or, get in situations that you might regret after the fact just because you're upset in the moment.
Absolutely.
So shout out to that. Shout out to your girl. DJ Black 909 in the chat says, in reference to our Drake conversation, correction, the reason why Drake gets the press that he gets is because he is light-skinned, light enough to pass for white.
Boom.
I mean, I do think that is a part of it. I'm not going to be naive. But I also say that when Drake came out, he had to, overcome a lot of that light skin bias in a way, because he was wheelchair Jimmy. Let's be clear.
That too. Degrassi and all of that, I think that also kind of played a factor in some of the hate that he receives.
I mean, let's face it, it's a teen soap opera. Do you know what I'm saying? And though they had edgy topics for kids at that age, in the world of hip hop and looking back on it, that's not exactly what we do, So I feel that there's that. I do think that he came out again on the love tip when that wasn't really the thing at the time, expressing, I'm vulnerable, I have emotions. It was all about dogging women out, not about, hey, I've been hurt. Even if it's my fault, yeah, I dogged you, but I'm hurt because I dogged you. That's language that we didn't hear a great deal of in rap. We heard it in R&B. And it's also, if you think about it at its most basic level, something that most women want to hear. We want to hear that you care, that you are impacted or affected by the wrong that you put out too. We have a lot of conversations about that, about the internal dialogue and what he really feels, but you rarely get to see it or hear about men being vulnerable or even having those conversations with each other. So I think that for a lot of women, and maybe even some men too, it was refreshing to have that as an outlet or to hear the other side of some of those conversations.
I agree. And I think that's another reason why, he gets a lot of hate, because some people feel like he's pandering to women.
But here's my thing. What's wrong with that in a way?
There's nothing, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with that. If you think about it, look at all the baby Drakes that we have now making songs or, singing or whatever the case may be.
Your Larry Junes, your Rod Waves, all of that.
Yeah, people understand the financial the financial stuff that you can get by making music geared towards the women, because statistics show that you guys consume more, whether that's purchasing albums or actually going to the concerts. So I'm not mad at Drake for that at all. And also, let's not diminish his talent. He's actually
correct,
very good, very great at what he does. So all of those layers on top of it just add on to the hate.
And I do think that is some of the confusion that we see around him now, because as of late, not that he hasn't always had those moments in there of, I'm a savage, I'm a whatever, but we're seeing a little more of that. And people are like, well, wait, you're getting older. We're supposed to see the opposite. But if he had come out, I feel with that, he would have been like everybody else at the time. And even though he's talented, he may not, I'm not saying that he wouldn't have, but he may not have stood out as much as he did based off of subject matter. Because I really think that when you think about that time, we were coming off the snap era, trap music was really big, R&B was in a weird space, and especially if you think about, it was either kind of kiddie R&B groups or really young, or kind of you're on your older side, almost to adult contemporary-ish. R&B was going through a transition at that time period, and I think that there wasn't a voice that could talk to women that were like 25, 30, in that age range where you're a little more mature, you're having different types of scenarios, but you still want to look back and be like, he's thinking about me. He's stalking my Instagram, girl. All of those things. You kind of agree with me, Andy, a little bit?
I kind of agree with you. Neo was popping around that time. Trey Songz was popping at that time. But I will say R&B was kind of dying, kind of, sort of, so to speak.
But if you think about even some of Trey Songz stuff, kind of on the edge of that, is like the songs, some of his slow songs were the ones that were big and blown up, but you think about some of the things were collaboration, almost hip-hop tracks that maybe 5 or 6 years before would have been a hip-hop song with an R&B singer thrown on it for the hook or for the vibe in between. And I think that you made a good point with Neo. I forgot about him. And there were, there are other people coming out during that. Even Jamie Foxx came out during some of that time period.
Jamie Foxx did, yeah.
But I think that even with Jamie, he was a little older for the 22, the 25-year-old, and not, he was still more in the traditional sense of R&B, which is not wrong. 100%. But I think that there was a group of women, that are just coming into their own, that were looking to hear love songs and those conversations on terms that related to them, with the phones and the new thing, the different things that you're going through as far as love. You're not waiting by the phone, getting a busy signal, or I'm going, it's a different time. And I think that he reflected that.
And of course, it did help big time to be co-signed by Lil Wayne, who was
Facts.
the hottest
the
rapper
biggest
at
rapper
the time.
in the game, so it was a perfect blend, and I think it worked. And he also, if you think about Drake's music, was on the opposite spectrum of Wayne's, but the blend together, it just worked. They gave you a lot. Listen, on the other side, we have more trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
More when we come forward.
Jackson Hewitt has a plan to get your tax refund fast with a buck here, buck there. Here a buck, there a buck, everywhere a buck.
You don't have to wait weeks for your tax refund. Get money sooner with a no-fee refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt.
On this loan, there's a money today guarantee. E-I-E-I-Do.
Don't settle for chicken feed. Get fast bucks at Jackson Hewitt today. No-fee refund advance loans by Republic Bank offered to eligible clients. Money today guarantee if approved for a loan on a prepaid card. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Now you can get a Walmart Plus membership, plus not pay for it, because it's included with Straight Talk wireless plans. You get free delivery with Walmart Plus a Paramount Plus subscription included. Plus, you pay less for gas. That's a lot of pluses.
Only Straight Talk gives you unlimited 5G data and Walmart Plus included on select plans for free.
Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Requires service on Gold or Platinum Unlimited. One offer per eligible account. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. Additional terms apply.
Watch out! You got me! The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Granddad, what's good? Hey there, got us a quarter pounder with cheese and McNuggets. Wow, haven't had our special McDonald's order in a minute. Heard your little tic-tac-toe dance didn't get no likes. Oh man, is Mom telling everybody? You know she is.
There's a deal for every favorite grandson at McDonald's. Right now, get one favorite like a quarter pounder with cheese or 10-piece chicken McNuggets and get another for just $1. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Valid for item of equal or lesser value.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Welcome back into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. So I mentioned the WWE and that how you view those matches is going to be changing soon. So according to reports, Netflix has paid more than $5 billion to partner up with the WWE. All WWE shows and specials outside of the U.S. will also be available, inclusive of Raw and WWE's other weekly shows, including SmackDown, NXT, etc. Netflix will also get the broadcasting rights to the live events like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Royal Rumble. And remember, the WWE just completed a merger in September with the UFC. So now this comes in. And it's really, it's pretty amazing as far as the deal, the price point. We know that live sports has become the next big frontier as far as streaming goes. We saw a few weeks ago Peacock put one of the playoff games exclusively on their streamer and drew in 23 million viewers. So we are seeing a lot of changes, and pretty soon it's not going to be free to watch a good portion, I would say, of your favorite sports and sporting events. Andy, I know you're a WWE fan. Do you have any thoughts about it going exclusively to Netflix, all the programming?
Looks like I'll be tapping into my Netflix account a lot more.
I mean, does it matter to you? Do you care
It
where
doesn't
you
matter.
view it? No.
It doesn't
So,
matter.
is it better because it's not going to have commercials, or that doesn't even?
It doesn't matter.
Interesting.
I mean, in the streaming era, there's a lot of websites that I could tap into. They're currently on Peacock right now, so it doesn't matter for me. I'm a wrestling fan. I'm going to find a way to watch.
Find a way. Well, we shall see. They keep rolling on and, building their little empire. I just, I'm curious to see. We know the NBA media rights deal is coming up, and there have been murmurs about inside the NBA leaving TNT in the NBA potentially, much like the NFL, maybe buying into ESPN, all sorts of different things. We know Amazon and Apple and Prime Video. Yeah, Amazon is Prime Video. We know Prime and Apple are both lurking, Netflix too. I'm just curious to see how it's going to look in the next couple of years. And then you see the rise of things like, podcasts like It Is What It Is, Club Shay Shay and the Nightcap, et cetera, et cetera. And the way that we view sports and how we get our commentary on it is going to be very different in the next couple of years.
Cable TV is dying a slow death.
Dying or really dead, and we're just keeping it on life support, trying to resuscitate.
I mean, for the most part, I was actually quite surprised with the Peacock views of the football game.
I was too.
100%.
I thought people were going to be pushed back, but I feel like the audience keeps showing the NFL. Look, the NFL is almost 7 days a week at this point. We have games on Thursday. During the playoffs, we have Saturday. We have Friday or holiday games now. It used to just be Thanksgiving. Now the NFL is taking over Christmas and is like, bump you, NBA. Their ratings are continuing to climb. And a lot of these things are going behind closed spaces because we saw Thursday night football has been around in the NFL for quite some time. And we know it bounced back and forth between Fox and CBS and some other things, but it's been quite successful on Prime. So, as the ticket prices get higher, it's going to cost you to watch it at home too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out to you sports fans.
Speaking of the WWE too, their merger or whatnot with the UFC, The Rock, he got announced as one of the board of directors.
The Rock is making moves. Not only that, he also has officially been announced today as he owns his name. We know we talk about ownership a great deal, and there was a lot that he had to go through to secure those rights. So The Rock, as his name, Dwayne Johnson, he owns that and can push that and utilize that as he sees fit. So, there are certain entities that continue to get bigger. It's just curious the way it's all shaken down. Listen, this isn't sports related, but it kind of goes into a little bit of something we're going to talk about in the next hour. But, fans are cruel on social media and they're observant, right? They pay a lot of attention. And we talked about Beverly Johnson the other day and her 70s diet. We've talked about, various people that have gone up and down with weight. We've talked about Oprah saying how she jumped on the Ozempic train. There's been other celebrities that have been accused of tapping into that. Well, fans have looked at 50 Cent and they think he's on that Ozempic too. They said he's looking like 25-year-old 50. He was recently on Instagram over the weekend and he showed off a slimmer physique. He had on an Amiri t-shirt. a little black velvet blazer, some gray jeans, and some white Air Force Ones. Still rocking the ones, Queens represent. And the caption was, Green Light Gang 2024, I'm going to shake things up. Time to get to work. Let's get it. Right? But all the fans were talking about was how much weight it looks like he's dropped. You know, if you go back a couple of months ago, and there's definitely a difference. But, you know, Page Six reached out to 50's people, and they said that it's not Ozempic, that 50 has been on a rigorous training program for the last 8 months. Now, what he's training for, I don't know. He did go on tour this summer, and it's interesting that the weight loss did not start while he was on tour. But that could be attributed to you can eat bad when you're on tour. Different city every night, grabbing meals when you can, but something's going on.
Ain't his girl like a fitness guru?
No,
or something
she's
like that?
a lawyer,
Oh, lawyer,
or
okay,
something,
never
or a
mind.
paralegal. I can't remember, something like that. Cuban. She might work out, but I don't know if that's her main thing. He also said, you know, he's going celibate in 2024 to really lock in and focus. And, you know, I suppose maybe that will help with the weight loss too. They said that 50 started training 3 hours a day every day before he went on tour this summer. And so, you know, maybe it's still residual, you know, leftover. I got to prove this because of how much mess people talked during the Super Bowl performance when he was here in LA and he came down and they were like, that physique wasn't looking the same. He looks good though. If it is 3 hour a day workouts and he's still doing that, shout out to you for the dedication, 50. We appreciate it. Listen, coming forward in hour 3, we're going to get into the social media influencer that moved to Houston to become a social media star. And we're going to talk about the results. We're going to talk about Britney Spears. She's been banned from the Four Seasons. We're going to get into why. We're going to talk about Rick Ross and his baby mama, Tia Kemp. And we're going to get into Candace Owens' comments about Ariana Grande. All that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. News and Sports is up next.
Would you let me wash your hair? Could I make you breakfast sometime? Well, then could we just hang out? I mean, could we go to